If you think that you have something which fits into that category, you'd like to find out how you can be a part of the program, well, why don't you drop us a line, address it to the Let's Talk program in care of Vaughan Radio, P.O. Box 195, Charlestown in Nevis, or give us a call. Our numbers are 1-869-469-1616 and or 1700. By the way, those will be the numbers you'll use to be a part of this evening's discussion. Again, thank you all very much for joining us. Your voice in the community, thought that get results. With regard to your participation in the show, we encourage you to call in on the numbers listed 1-869-469-1616 and or 1700. Here's a suggestion. If you have a question or comment, perhaps you can get a pencil, piece of paper, write it down so that you're well organized, and when you're getting on the show, you take as little time as possible so that we can take as many of you as we can. We ask only, first of all, you respect yourselves and then respect others, because we will not accept anything we deem that's not within our broadcast standards, but we encourage you to always be forceful with your point. Thank you all again for joining us. Your voice in the community, thought that get results. Tonight, the mighty Cairo, good evening.
Good evening.
I wanted to call you by your other name, which I did not know, so that I can do that going forward sometimes. What is it?
It's KJ Smithen.
KJ Smithen, that's a nice name. Where did you get it from?
My mother.
She told you, she gave you?
No, but I just think so.
Oh, you think so? Okay. So you go by the name of Cairo. A lot of people know you by that name. Why you didn't like that name? Why did you use Cairo?
Oh, when I decided that I wanted to start singing, I didn't want to use my name, but I still wanted it to be true to me. So I decided to take 2 letters from my middle names and just join them, and Cairo came from it.
Okay. See, I always know there is a method in any madness, right? So it's not that you didn't like the name your mother gave you. So you're Kejel what?
Smithen.
Kejel Smithen. Because I have a line sometimes I say with a lot of pride. His name is Kejel Smithen. He called himself Cairo, and we had the audacity to crown him king. So one of these days, I hope I can use those lines.
Right.
Okay. All right, so that's just maybe the icebreaker. You're from which village?
Cotton Ground Village.
Mm-hmm. And I bet the folks over there are proud of you.
They are.
They support you heavily?
They do. They have showed up heavily during this journey, and I really appreciate them for that. So shout out to everybody in Cotton Ground.
So Cotton Ground is one of those communities that with the representatives in anything, they support them seemingly above other communities. Real strong.
Correct.
So you know Miko?
I do.
And you know how he mustered the support in Cotton Ground?
Yes.
Okay, so Miko is not singing for a couple of years now. So you
trying to sift off some supporters.
Nothing is wrong with that. Is your first time in the arena?
No, actually, my first time was in 2021. I think that's when they had the virtual tent calypso.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first time that I sang. Sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I could be what people would say a sore loser, but I find I'm just very competitive. So after my first time, and I couldn't really understand how do I improve, like to hear people saying, oh, you're gonna make it finals, and then results come back and you're at last on the leaderboard, you're just like, what to the next, right? So I just decided I'm gonna sing again. So I had stepped back for like 3 to 4 years and just decided I'm not gonna do anything. But I'm here, I'm back, and ready to make a mark.
Sometimes I'm a bad judge of looking at persons and know whether they're young or old. You look pretty young.
I am.
I'm not asking your age, but What are you doing getting discouraged after one or two entries?
Because sometimes when you look at the first entry, for me, if I can see where I can improve, or I ask around, and I'm going to be honest with myself and say, okay, this wasn't done well, this wasn't done well. But when you do this thing and, you know, is a huge amount of people saying X, and then you judge last, I started to ask myself, how do I square the circle? And then there were people who were saying that I can't sing, so I just like, that's it for me.
Okay, well, we will get into some more of that. We'll add some people who know a little bit more about calypso, who've been through it, and maybe you'll learn a couple of things and understand. Maybe it's not just you. So you, from 21 to 25, you took a break. Give us an idea what you did in 21.
Okay, so in 21, I sang Criminals in Disguise. And whenever I'm writing, I try to take a creative spin on things. So I didn't just want it in your face per se. So I was singing it from the perspective of society's mat, and saying how, you know, the different, just bringing awareness to how different actions could be hidden under society's mat, whether it's in the church, socially, politically, in the different spheres, and just culminate it into something. Have it culminated to something beautiful.
And you thought you did that?
I thought I did that. Correct.
But maybe you did, keeping in mind that there were other competitors.
Right.
Okay. All right, so that's 21. And then you took a hiatus, and what brought you back in 25?
25? Okay, so I was home from university. Just completed my Bachelor of Laws. And it was a very trying period of not having employment, so I was just sitting at home. And I honestly didn't want to move into a brain rot, per se, just looking at the computer all day, having nothing to do, sitting around. So I was like, I don't write calypso this year, right? And then yeah, that's about it. I was just sitting down and I was like, let me write calypso this year. And that's how I did that.
You ever heard the phrase, open confession is good for the soul?
Yes.
So here's a confession from me. So I heard the song. Well, one of my guys here asked me if I checked out this particular song. And I told them, no, not as yet. They said you should check it out. Now, I do a shift on a daily basis, but I only have an opportunity to play maybe at most 3 songs, you know, per day. And that's not a whole lot of space to do another song. So I went and I checked the song out. And I said, this thing is pretty good. So I keep playing it, and the audience keep asking for it. And I studied the song, and then I start asking questions. When I listened to the construct of the song, I said, that guy, tell me more about it. And now I just learned why the song is a monster jam. You not know dummy. you because it's well written.
Thank you so much.
And let me do this so that people don't wonder what I'm talking about when, you know, they would think that I'm biased. Here's the evidence.
Gone too soon, wish more time. Stop my clock, hear my cry. People stop the speeding, no speeding please. Nations cry, shattered on knees. It happened so fast, couldn't catch my breath. Style and drift set me straight to death. I'm floating through shadow cold and wide, wishing I could be by mama's side. She
She calling my name like I with her. Mama, your boy buried under. Your voice just there, echo in the air. Sorry, I can't come back nowhere near. People stop the speed, no speeding please. One bad choice, your whole life sees. The ones who you love, you're left to grieve. Hear my voice, take my plea. Please stop the speeding. No speeding on the road. Please stop the speeding. No speeding on the road. For the lives that might be your own. Reckless driving you can condone. Use your blinkers when you turn. One-way road, no U-turns. You must obey the laws that are set. HMP has cries of regret. Take my warning as no joke. Don't fear to be cause so poke. Please no speeding on the road. 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 Madam Badai, my family dressed black and white, tears falling down, living upright, huge vigil, candle in hand, wishing I could rise. I'm a dead man. My best friend stand by the graveside wall, leaning on guilt, can't speak at all. He drives fast too, say it could have be he, but still pressing gas like he had done me. My little niece asks where uncle go, but nobody brave to let she know. She touched my face, smile so wide, I never coming back to watch her side. People stop the speeding, no speeding please. One bad choice, your whole life sees. The ones who you love, you're left to grieve. Hear my voice, take my plea. Please stop the speeding. No speeding on the road. Stop the speeding. No speeding on the road. For the lives that might be your own. Reckless driving you can condone. Use your blinkers when you turn. One-way road, no U-turns. You must obey the laws that are set. HMP has cries of regret. Take my warning as no joke. Don't fear to be cause no poke. Please no speeding on the road. Please no speeding on the road. Please no speeding on the road. Please no speeding on the road.
From the VOA Music Machine, this is a monster jam.
Madam Badai, I used to dream, house and car, drink me rum, speed from bars. Thought that tomorrow was always mine. Never really cared, never watched the signs. My plan stuck neat in a notebook page. Love some save for some distant age. But fate don't wait, it don't knock or shout. One flash, one turn, lights go out. We feel like power when you're young and bold, but the road ain't care if you're warm or cold. Flesh and fire, now I mist and rain, trying to spare another from this pain. People stop the speeding, no speeding please. One bad choice, the whole life sees. The ones who you love, you're left to grieve. Hear my voice, take my plea. Please stop the speeding. No speeding on the road. Please stop the speeding. No speeding on the road. For the lives that might be your own. Reckless driving you can condone. Use your blinkers when you turn. One-way road, no U-turns. You must obey the laws that are set. HMP has cries of regret. Take my warning as no joke. Don't fear to be cause so poke. Please no speeding on the road. 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 One block of stone from a devil's stare. Eyes in the cloud, wind in the air. I don't want revenge, I don't want rage. I just want you safe, I just want you change. I used to laugh, full of pride. Now I just drift where the shadows hide. My story cut short, you know it's true. So I am crying now, don't make it you. I don't want flowers, I don't want tears. I want you to listen, I want you to hear. Life is sweet, it's delicate too. So I am now haunting you. People stop the speeding, no speeding please. One bad choice, your whole life sees. The ones who you love, you're left to grieve. Hear my voice, take my plea. Please stop the speeding. No speeding on the road. Please stop the speeding. No speeding on the road. For the lives that might be your own. Reckless driving you can condone. Use your blinkers when you turn. One-way road, no you turn. You must obey the laws that are set. HMP has cries of regret. Take my warning as no joke. Don't fear to be cast upon. Please no speeding on the road. Please no speeding on the road. Please no speeding on the road. Please no speeding on the road.
Always satisfying. Vaughn Radio, the powerhouse. You've made
That's Cairo, and that's who we've been speaking to, and that's one of the songs that we've been speaking about, and that I really wanted to focus on that because of the message, and the message is in the music, and it was well written. I just wanted to bring you here, talk about the song, give it some more exposure, because as far as you had mentioned about you couldn't understand how, you didn't make it in terms of singing the first time, took a break and all that and stuff like that. We're going to have probably, when we add the other panel, we're going to have probably a further discussion about that. But I wanted to encourage you and to let you know that the song, nothing is wrong with the song. It is a great song, and when we label something a monster jam around here, we don't do it by accident. It's got to pass the test. Run through the computers and all that. No kidding. And that has made it basically there. Now, you did another song this year. Tell us a little about that, and then we're going to add the other folks.
Okay, so the second song that I sing was on censorship. I think that there is an undercurrent of censorship that happens. Like sometimes I'm talking to my friends or I'm saying something and somebody might be like, boy, when you're saying that, or you don't fear the repercussions that might come from that. Even so, that same period of unemployment, people would be saying, well, you have to be careful not to say this, or basically trying to choose what you are allowed to say, and so I thought that was a subject that should definitely be explored.
In terms of the both songs, and you mentioned earlier that you got feedback from folks. What was the feedback in one to one, this one that we just played as opposed to the other? Which one people seem to gravitate to more?
People gravitated to the Speeding on the Road song more than the other one. To be honest, though, I particularly like the other one more than Speeding on the Road. But I guess it really, the first one resonated with me. And I guess that's why the censorship song really hit home for me. But for others, you know, the Speeding on the Road is going to hit society and a whole, a larger group. And so I find that is why that one probably resonated more with them.
So in terms of the actual happenings in the society, we've had a lot of deaths on the road and stuff like
Right.
that, and so on. But also the construct of it is immaculate.
Yeah, so as I told you, I love to be creative in my writing. And so, let me tell you. So I was home in the period of unemployment, and my sister was like, you know, they had another accident. And I was like, again? And that was enough to jar me, to have me shaken, to be like, okay, this is, because I didn't know what I was going to write on at the time. When I said earlier, I can sing calypso. And then when I had that expression of shock to say again, that's when I started to write on that. So then I asked my mother if anybody has tackled the issue before, and she was telling me yes. So my thought was, now I have to be innovative. I have to add something new or fresh to the idea of no speeding, because she was telling me Socrates sing No Killer on the Roads, and Hollywood would have had something about speeding as well. So I was like, you know, okay, I'm going to sing mine from the dead man's perspective. Like, he's coming back, he's haunting you now. So that is the spin that I took on my song. I don't know if it was received well when I looked at the points, like lyrical creativity getting 2 out of 5 is crazy, but I guess it's a matter of not understanding. I don't know.
Yeah, we got some experts here who know about lyrics and all that, and they're gonna weigh in on that. But we done some work around here with songs as well, and I have guys here, and I'll be bold enough to say to you, nothing is wrong with the song.
Thank you.
It's well written. You get the greatest English professor in the world, and they'll give that a very good grade. I looked at the lyrical sheet, the criteria, competition night. It was either 2 or 3 typewritten pages long. And I said to one of my colleagues, but sometimes I just shake my head and smile, and that's enough. The amount of things was written on that sheet. I don't know if any one of them got a copy, right? It probably will take me maybe 10-15 minutes to read that, which people were judged by. And I wondered how someone can get all of those things in the 5 minutes that somebody is up there singing the song.
Okay, I'm going to leave the experts to weigh in on that.
Right, so that's the expert. And that's number one. And number two, again, when it comes to judging, the only thing I would say, I don't worry about it too much, because I would argue most of the times, if you had, let's say, a panel of 5, and they give you a particular result. If there were a different panel of 5 with the same performance, you probably will have different results. Okay, so enough of that. Let me get the experts in. Conrad Naya Liebert, good evening.
Good evening, Webbo, and good evening to your hard-working staff here at the Powerhouse of the Eastern Caribbean. Good evening to Mr. Smitten, Cairo, Calypso name. I welcome you to this program this evening. I would like to welcome all my friends in the international circle and locally to the program. Webbo, once again, I'm so happy that you request my presence this evening, and of course we are at the point after Culturama, and so obviously there's a lot to say about Culturama, and here we have Cairo. First time I'm hearing about Cairo, first time I'm hearing the song and I must say it's a beautiful song. It's very appropriate, and I think the melody is really nice. Great harmonies, especially in the beginning. That turned me on immediately, I must say. And then the backup vocals are really nice, you know. And so I'll would join Webbo to encourage you, your youth. And from that song, I can yield a high level of intelligence, and I would encourage you to keep writing. It's not what the judges may come up with, but is what sometimes what stay within the people's mind, within the people's thoughts. Because in these days you'll find a song can be too sweet, you know, and it lasts a very short time, you know, because there's sometimes no soul to it. It looks like I think that particular song has some ingredient which you can hear for a long time, you can enjoy for a long time, you know, the type of stuff. But of course, Webbo, I want to just thank you once again for having me.
Roger Fifield, good evening.
Good evening, Webbo, and good evening to the listening public and to my fellow panelists, you know, Naya and Cairo. Special welcome to Cairo. Webbo, just before I dive into the main matter at hand, I just want to say happy birthday to all those who are celebrating, and happy anniversary to all those who are celebrating too. I want to say a special happy birthday to Judith in St. Kitts. Happy birthday, my dear. Hope you're having a wonderful time. And Webbo, to those who might be mourning and those who are hospitalized, I want to wish them a speedy recovery. May God grace touch them and heal them. And those who have passed on, I said to the family, friends, and relatives, you know, to hold strong, hold dear to God. He would see you through. Allow Him to be your pillar of strength, your rock. And of course, as I said earlier, He would see you through as we continue to pray for each other. Webbo, I am hoping that persons, you know, listening and viewing, you know, would call in, as this is an interactive program. I have a feeling that we would have many callers tonight because of the topic at hand. And of course, we can learn something from you, and you can learn something from us. Once again, Webbo, I want to thank you for the invitation, and I don't know if I can dive straight into the matter, but thank you again, Webbo.
Yeah, before you can dive straight in, after I ask Cairo this question. Cairo, who did the musical arrangement?
Abonati for both songs.
Great. Great arrangements as well. And that as Naya had indicated, the melody is something else. So go ahead.
Yeah. Webbo,
Roger.
You know, I just want to first congratulate, you know, all those who would have taken part in the calypso, both junior and senior, and especially those who would have made the finals. I want to say congratulations to our first female calypso monarch, Empress Lyrics. Sorry. She journeyed to Angola. She didn't place, but I believe that she did us proud. And again, congratulations. And congratulations to Decider, first time placing first runner-up, and the veteran, this and that, place in second runner-up. Congratulations. Well, back to Cairo. From the time I heard Cairo first sung in the tent, I said to Hollywood, you know, this is someone to watch for final nights. I did say that because I really liked his song. I liked how he performed it, and I don't understand what Cairo said earlier when he said somebody said that he cannot sing. I believe that's total madness. I believe this young man has an authoritative voice, a voice that, you know, makes persons, you know, stop and listen, you know, and the songs are well constructed. And if I'm supposed to touch on the speeding on the road, Webbo, long after all of us in this building have gone on to the great beyond, this song would have life and meaning because it's futuristic, it speaks to the present, and the thing about it, for some reason, humans are going to continue to speed, and the plea is going to continue. And this song, it doesn't has a date on it. It has an infinity lifetime, so to speak. And that is a really good thing for a calypso and a calypsonian who think futuristic. And I want to say congratulations again. Cairo, I'm around calypso for a very, very long time. I remember when you came in the arena the very first time. And what I want to say to you is, don't be disheartened. Yes, you would be disappointed because we are humans, but don't be disheartened. You know, I think that you would have made an impression. And having made that impression, I'm hoping that you do not stop now. I mean, I love calypso, and I love I can't sing, but I love calypso, and anything to do with calypso, it doesn't matter who. It doesn't matter who. I mean, the world know by now that, you know, I'm a Hollywood supporter. I've been working in Hollywood for maybe since about 1999, thereabout to present, and but I just love calypso. If I hear good calypso, I tell you it's a good calypso, and I believed that you had two wonderful songs. Your diction, your clarity, you have a melodious voice, the arrangement, you know, in both songs. I believe your lyrical content and lyrics is 40 points. There's a breakout that I can't recall, but I know lyrics is 40 points. I think that melody, music, which comprise of melody and other, is 30. Performance, I think, is another 30, and originality, I think, might be 10 to add up to the 100 points. And I believe that you would have, in my opinion, you would have ticked very high in all those boxes. But we must remember that humans are judging, and for whatever reason, humans would judge according to what they hear, how they interpret it, how they understand it. Notwithstanding that, what I want to plea to the Culturama committee, the Calypso committee, you know, I know that this would have been done at some point in time over the years. But if we could have, you know, persons come in, maybe not just once a year, but at least 2 to 3 times a year, persons who understand calypso, persons who understand judging and understand how one should judge, to come and have workshops with prospective judges. So you earmark a pool of judges, you invite other persons to, and I dare say you invite the calypsonians and songwriters so they could have an understanding, you know, hey, what am I supposed to write? How am I supposed to construct my song? You know, how am I supposed to deliver it on the night? You know, all of these you would gain points for all of these, you know, your performance. So how am I go about it in a particular song? You know, there are different types of songs. And with this Speeding on the Road, I believe the marriage between music and the lyrics, I think it's fantastic. Some persons, you know, they would have a good song lyrically, and it might be a sad song, for example, and the music is happy music. You know, the marriage is not there. But in this particular case, I believe that in my opinion, the lyrical content and the lyrics would have married really, really, really extremely well with the music in my opinion. And I believe that would have gotten a high tick in my opinion. Now, as I said, persons, you know, judge differently. I do not believe, though, that, for instance, if you are judging a segment out of 15, that one should probably get, one judge would probably give you 13 and another may give you 7 or 6. It's you know, it's not within that bracket, in my opinion. You know, if one give you 13, one may give you maybe 12, maybe possibly 11, but it should be hobbling around there. Correct. You know, but when you get in like a 90%, 95% from one judge, and then, you know, reaching down to, you know, a 45 or 50% from another judge, you know, this disparity, you know, it's not there. So even though that we think differently as individuals, because we are human beings, we should have the understanding, and not just the understanding, but we must be professional enough And if we have biases, we throw them out the door. And I dare say, if we have biases, and we should be man or woman enough to tell the committee, hey, I'm sorry, but I cannot be a judge because I have my bias. No, believe me, if they were to ask me to judge and Hollywood taking part, I would tell them plain up, I am not going to judge. My horse is in the race.
Right.
You know, I'm not saying that judges had horses in the race. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just using this as an example. Because some persons, they do not have a horse per se in the race, but they have their personal biases. I believe that persons should listen on the night, look at the show. Over the years, Webbo, I would have seen judges sitting down in front. They are somewhere to the back now. And people performing on stage. And they're looking back and they're talking to people. I have seen this, so I can speak to it. Not just with Calypso, but with other Culturama shows. And they are looking back and they are talking to people in the audience when they should be looking on stage to see the performance on stage. Because performance carries points. And crucial points over the years, Webbo. Persons I know, Culturama 39, the Queen won by 0.5 points. Culturama 39. The Queen win by 0.5 points. There was a Calypso show. I can't remember the year, but this and that won Miko by 1 point. 1 point. And I can speak to myself. I went in a show 2003 and I was beaten by 1.5 points. I'm not saying I was supposed to win, but I'm just saying, you know, how close shows could be.
Right.
You know, so I'm saying the judges must be attentive. They must be hungry to see what is going on, to hear what is going on, to interpret what is going on, and to put it on paper. You know, I mean, we have to be so careful. In my opinion, Calypso has fallen off over the years. I could remember the years back in the late 80s. We had so many Calypsonians: Bush T, Biba Board, Solomon, Slimba, Bashi, Pim Pim, so many Calypsonians. You know, I think at one point in time there might have been 88 around there. You had like 7, 8 Calypsonians coming out of Brown Hill. You know, Calistafari. You know, so many Calypsonians. And we used to have like 35, 36 Calypsonians taking part in eliminations. And now, over the years, we hardly get an elimination. We just go straight into semifinals. We have to ask ourselves, why? Why are we as a society not interested in singing? Is it that we cannot compose? Is it that we cannot get anybody to compose a song for us? We have to find out these things. We must go into the community. We must go into our schools. What happened to the junior? The junior should be a breeding ground for the senior. When we look at it over the years, how many Calypsonians right now would have come from junior and graduated into the senior arena as it is now? I am seeing currently in this year's competition, if I believe, let me see if I get it right, the only person is Hollywood. The only person is Hollywood. We would have had other persons like the Sukis, the Invincibles, and stuff like that. But then at some point in time, they fall off. They fall off. Now we have to, even if we have to approach them, even if we have to help them, because these are good Calypsonians I'm speaking of, you know. These are good Calypsonians. These are guys that would have won the junior title, you know, for more than 3 years. You know, so these are guys who have the potential. We have to harvest the potential. We have to harness it. We have to groom it. Because when we look at it, our forefathers, they are the forefathers of Culturama. They create Culturama for, I'm going to narrow it down in my understanding, you know, to keep the cultural aspect, the traditions of Nivision culture alive, which includes Calypso and other folklore, you know, but we're speaking on Calypso. So what are we doing? Zero. I believe I saw 0, if I'm not mistaken, at the senior calypso finals, I believe. And then what happened when he looks on? I believe that the first calypso show was with 4 calypsonians, and that's 51 years ago. We would have grown, as I said, to the late 80s at a point in time when we had up to 30-something calypsonians taking part. So what has happened? What's the fallout? What can we do? What can we do? I know in Antigua, for example, and I'm subjected to correction here, but I know I listened to the news some weeks or months ago, and I believe that the junior monarch in Antigua get a bye to the semi-finals in Antigua. Can we or should we adapt something like that? You know, to give them that impetus, you know, for them to carry on.
Let me ask you a question. What if Cairo were a junior calypsonian and a king, a winner, and he got a bye and went into the senior arena, and the same thing happened to him that he just explained? You think because he got a bye to go into the senior arena that would have daunted his discouragement? He wouldn't have been discouraged?
I'm not saying that he would not have.
I'm not saying you're saying that, so that's why I asked you.
Yeah, I understand.
You understand what? You understand what I asked you? Is that a question I asked you?
Yes.
That would,
No. I didn't answer. I answer yes to that is a question you're asking me.
Okay, so you now will answer me.
Yeah, I would now answer you.
Okay.
You know, I do not think that it would not, if he feel a particular way, if he feel disgruntled, and that's why we should have probably mentors as well, calypso mentors, maybe persons who would have gone through the ropes, you know, to speak to them. I know some calypsonians would have sing for, you know, over 10 years before they win a crown. Yeah, you know, or close to 10 years before they would have won a crown. You know, and these mentors, so to speak, you know, would help to smooth them through the way. I know calypso is not easy, you know, Webbo. I know calypsonians would have gone to the band house over the years, and I can speak because I am not a calypsonian, and I've been going to band house from since about, I'm not very old, but from since around 1989. I've been hitching ride with Slimba, going to band house, and I could speak to this because I know we would have walk, go to band house, walk most of the way from band house after 2 in the morning, and you go and you sit at the band house and you get no practice. But you know, for the love of the art form, persons, I'm not saying that this was for him alone, I'm certain other calypsonians too, but for the love of the art form, persons, you know, continue. And that is why I'm saying that, you know, for calypso, we need to do an introspection of calypso. Calypso is us, you know, and see, you know, what is really happening, what is going on, before, you know, it is completely depleted, so to speak. We have to, you know, try to resuscitate it, whatever we have to do. You know, maybe it is that, you know, we probably need to make the prices, you know, more attractive. Maybe we need to speak to the prospective calypso and the calypsonians, and maybe we need to educate them, edify them, and let them know that, hey, this is something that is not done necessarily for the money, but maybe for the love of it and for the preservation of the art form. Maybe these are things we can look at it from different angles. Persons see things. I can tell you, Webbo, when I used to go to school, for example, and I hear that I make the team, the athletic team, whether I go to Grove Park, well, the El Comida, Tonito Willett Park, and I run, I just sat, I feel good. You know, I feel really good. You know, the pride, the joy, you know, of you representing your school, the pride, the joy. I spoke to one Calypsonian recently, Mr. Herbert. And you know what a Calypsonian said to me? Bye, Raja. You know, I feel so good that I sing in Calypso. I never place, but I feel so good I sing calypso because people see me and you know, people just hailing me up and people is like, "Bah, you sing the song there, you sing the song there," you know, and it's like it just bring, you know, a joy and you know, to that person based on what that person explained to me, you know. And so maybe if we get back the love of it, maybe if we understand that calypso is calypso, maybe if we understand that if I am singing and I jab Cairo and the final night, it is nothing personal. You know, we have to understand that when we look at Shot and Swallow, Absinthe and those guys in Antigua back in the 80s, early 80s, you know, them guys does act like they're fighting and stuff like that. Them guys are good friends, but it's calypso is a part of calypso. You know, what happened to, you know, you come on and you jab. I jab Cairo in an extra verse, and then Cairo come back on and Cairo jab me. Just Saturday, I think that the first run up from Anguilla, why am I losing her name? You know, she jabbed Drew Eve, the Leeward's Island monarch, Antigua monarch. She jabbed her on stage, and Eve came back and he pepper her. In my opinion, you know, it is calypso. We ought not to take these things, you know, personal. And as I would have said 100 times over, you know, this and that, for example, I respect this and that. This and that I've been singing for 50 years this year, consecutively. And I have to respect him. We must respect him. But when it comes to calypso, you know, we don't sit on the same fence. But personally, this and that and I get along very good. And I can say so because I say so even in the face, and he knows when it comes to calypso, you know, we are on a different side of the fence. But personally, we get along very good. You know, and, you know, if people could understand, you know, these things, Webbo, I believe that calypso is on a decline in Nevis. And that is why I'm so happy a youngster such as Cairo has come forward. You know, he had a hiatus of 3-4 years. You know, if the first time he sang, you know, I was impressed with him too. The judges saw something differently. You know, there are many persons who met me the week leading up to the calypso and said to me that Cairo is going to win the show. And I said, well, let us see on the night what is going to happen. You know, and, you know, I want to encourage other persons, Webbo. And I want to say here, you know, next year I may bring another horse in the race, Mr. Herbert. You know, I don't want to, I'm working on it. To bring another horse in the race. Because I believe, you know, calypso, you know, somebody have to try to continue. I love calypso, Webbo. I've been working with junior calypsonians, so many junior calypsonians over the years. You know, and, you know, just two in the senior arena, Slimba, Hollywood in the senior arena, but many persons in the junior arena. And I would continue to endeavor to do my best, you know, whatever it is that I can help. You know, I speak to other calypsonians. They would have they ask me from time to time, you know, a little bits and tips and stuff like that. And I try to be as frank and as honest as I can with them, you know, because at the end of it, it's calypso. We meet calypso and we are going to go leave calypso. It is an art form, and it is an art form that we should try to maintain. And I said on some program before, on these very microphone here at Von Radio, calypso helps us. It helps us as an individual. It helps us in our public speaking. It helps us, you know, in composing. We write our composition at school. You know, it is like poetry. It helps us. And if we could develop that art form, you know, even by, you know, because of the love of calypso, because we may not necessarily have the love of composing, you know, or writing an essay in school, but because we may have the love for calypso, we may just rub off and edge off, and then you may find that our grades in school, you know, start to notch up a little by that, because sometimes we just need something to entice us. We just need something, you know, that we love. You know, we love to do, and that positivity could rub off on other aspects of our lives, Webbo. Cairo, don't give up.
I won't.
No matter what. You know, you may get some beaten down now, and I would say to you what I said to Hollywood some years ago. Some years ago, Hollywood first came Calypso King in 2011. He first made the Senior Calypso Finals in 2003. 3 or 2001. So somewhere there. And at some point in time, he felt as if that he should have placed. And he didn't place. As a matter of fact, that particular year they had third runner-up, and he didn't place. And he was mad, and he said that he's not going to sing again. And I said to him, Hollywood, the door was closed tightly on you. You have jarred the door. There is some airspace. If you stop now, the door is going to shut, and you would have to push and push. I say, all you have to do is to push something between the door, and you keep prizing it back. And soon and very soon, before you know it, it's going to burst right open, and you would sit on top. And so said, and I want to say to you, Cairo, and to all other Calypsonians who may be thinking, you know, of pulling out, you know, Cairo, first and foremost, as I said, you have an authoritative voice, you have a powerful voice, you can sing. So whoever told you that you can't sing, I don't know what to say, but at least in my opinion, you know, and you're young, you have age on your side, and you would have said earlier that you compose your own songs. And if you could compose your own song, you know what your thought process is. You know how you want to deliver your song, your songs. But what you can do, you know, you can reach out to whoever you feel comfortable. Maybe a former Calypsonian. You could ask questions. You know, you could ask other persons questions in terms of, you know, how do I lay out my performance on stage on the particular night based on the particular song. Mm-hmm. You know, and you try to just, you know, some persons would say everything, and I would say listen to everybody, but filter. You understand? You retain what you think would best work for you, because at the end of the day, as I often tell Hollywood, you know, at the end of the day, you are the one who is going on stage to perform. I may say, I want this pen to go stage left. And you say, no, I want it to go stage right. But I say, partner, this is how I feel and this is how I strongly feel, but is you going on stage? And if you're not comfortable on stage with it stage left, well, put it stage right. Correct. But I'm going to support you still, just go and try to do your best. You know? So I just want to say, bro, you know, keep up the good works. You know, continue, and may you have a long and fruitful Calypso life. You're going to win the crown at some point in time. Remember I said that.
Cairo, who is your favorite Calypsonian?
I don't think I have a favorite, to be honest. And
I'm not talking locally, like internationally.
Yeah, I don't think I have a favorite. I listen to a lot of Calypsonians, and I think I take from each of them in a different way. So I would love the creative spins that Halan would take on his music, or I would like the emotional grit that Sandra delivers in Saying Kids. I would like the creative spins that Josie take. I would love the emotional grit from Miss Independent. I would like if I'm thinking that I want to do something celebratory, then I would listen to Hollywood's voice, how he does his thing. So I listen to a lot of Calypsonians and see how they deliver, see what they give, and I take bits and pieces from them to navigate or to guide what it is that I want to put out there.
I think you have quite a sophisticated approach, in a sense that, I mean, it's all a part of you. Talking to me, you know, and listening to what you just said, it seems to me like you're deep in the art form. You listen to quite a lot of people and inspired by a lot of people, and so I can't see you having a short career in this. It looks like. I'm sure it's more than a pastime for you. But you know, sometimes we think too much, and I'm not talking about you now. I'm just picking up from what Mr. Fifield was saying. You know, it seems we seems to be on about holding hands a lot these days, trying to keep things alive, trying to facilitate the growth of the calypso scene, trying to and it seems like it's not coming from the people that likes calypso, or there's a lot to say about what is happening in a general sense, because we are now talking about calypso, but don't we see a lot of other things seems to be on the kind of down low, deteriorating as it relates to our festival and so forth. And you have recommended a lot of approaches, and sometimes it seems to me like we are trying too much. Why do we have to try so much to keep these things alive? Is the same thing happening in other islands? We are just experiencing a kind of decadence within our local festival, and the repercussion is filtering out into the very various art forms. Maybe not just the calypso, but the string band, the masquerade. Are we seeing something of that sort taking place? I mean, yes, we are talking about calypso, but I think the general feedback for this year Culturama was basically not that good, you know, from the Nivision standpoint. On the very last day, a lot of people is saying, I mean, what's this? Is this a Sinkers last lap? Is this a Sinkers Juve morning? So it looks to me like we need a renaissance in this whole thing, not just as it relates to calypso, and then the calypsonian would come with it, with beyond the increase, and the masquerade, the big jump, and so what is really going on? Really, I'm throwing this question to anyone who is listening, and they can call in, and I'm talking to you both on this matter. What is exactly taking place? Are we experiencing a general decline or decadence in the life of our festival? And you have admit that, you know, calypso is on the down, but other areas seems to be on the down as well, you know. And I think we have to work ardently to really bring back life into this thing, you know. I know there are complications, there are problems internal, and there are times those who are involved with it doesn't want the public to know. So all the public is feeling is like, hey, this is not right, something is wrong, you know. And but I think maybe the more we talk about it, and those who are involved with it talk about it, maybe they can establish some kind of understanding with the masses, and probably all can try to do better. But it looks to me like we have a lot of work to do to keep our Culturama alive, our festival alive, and in particular our calypso, our masquerade, big drums, almost every area. And the question is why? Why? I know you have spoken of different approaches, you know, calypso tent and seminars with judges and so forth. And I wanted to ask, who get the road match this year?
Decider.
Decider get the road match. Oh. Well, let's congratulate Cider in a sense, because I was out for Juve morning, and I was out for the last lap, and me and Cider sang playing, so I don't know how it's decided.
Well,
you know,
there are different judging points, Naya.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. I was a judge for the road march once, and well, before the road march, they already knew who was going to win the road march. So my writings on my paper didn't matter at all, you know. And after that, I realized, I see what's going on here, and I leave it with them.
What's going on, Naya? Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Good evening, Webbo, and good evening to your panel.
Good evening.
Webbo, I'm beginning to get the feeling that we think of Culturama a month or two before it's to be done every year, and the rest of the year we go to sleep on it. And so it's showing in our results. What I mean by results, and by the way, let me just say to the young man there, I'm no calypso fan. I never realized who he was until I actually saw him on YouTube or something performing, but I think he did a really nice job with his song, and I just want to encourage him to continue. I remember years ago, Webbo, when I first came back to Nevis, I was having a conversation with Malcolm Gishard. He was the Minister of Tourism then, and a lot of persons were going to work at Four Seasons and all of that. And there was some talk, our discussion centered around hospitality. And I said to him, Malcolm, don't you think we should teach hospitality in the schools? And he seemed quite surprised. I said, but we have to. You can't expect that people are going to grow up, go to school, finish school, at 18, 19 years old and come out and know how to walk into a hotel and be a good hospitality person or representative when we haven't taught them. We're assuming that they know, and some people it's innate in them, huh? But for the most part, hospitality is something that... Hello?
All right. Hello? Yes,
Hello?
We are hearing you. Are you not hearing?
Hello?
I'm hearing. Hello?
Are you hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. And so, when I look at the parade, for instance, and I see the scantness in the parade, I ask myself, well, why don't we have a representative from every primary school or even the high schools with some type of troop or float in the parade? And one of the ways that can happen is if we were teaching culture in the schools, the steel pans, the drums, the string bands, all of those could then become a part of our Culturama parade. I've been to other Culturama in different islands, other carnivals in different islands in the Caribbean. And when you see the steel pan come out on the truck, they're bouncing all over the place, and they're doing a good job, and it adds. We're looking at parades now where it's scant. There's nothing happening. And so I'm going back to why aren't we pushing our culture in the schools to help develop Culturama?
By way of information for your knowledge, caller, what if I tell you that the question you're asking by way of suggestion that they should do, what if you were to learn that they're doing it?
I would be very surprised.
Well, they are.
They are.
So be surprised.
Okay. So what is happening why we're not seeing some of that same culture manifest itself in our Culturama?
Well, just maybe we got to dig deeper to find out the reasons for certain things. Now, for instance, if you were listening at the top of the program, Cairo said he sang in 21, correct, Cairo?
Correct.
He didn't sing in 22, nor 23, nor 24. And it's interesting, he also said why. So, let's say...
Sorry, I wasn't listening then.
Okay. Tell the caller why, Cairo.
I was a bit disheartened after the results that I got on my first time entering the arena.
Okay, you were disheartened by the results.
Yes.
And you understand now that the results that we get are not necessarily always what we're looking for.
Correct.
But we got to keep going.
Yes, I've learned that through the panelists that have been here. So I'm excited to move on that suggestion or approach, if I can put it that way.
And again, in the teaching of the art in the schools, I am to hope that that's something that's taught to encourage young person that you're not always going to win. The first time you may not win, but you got to keep going. And the second time, I was in a business place this week, and I don't want to give away too much of where I was, but the person assisting me, I learned afterwards as I walked out, someone who was with me told me that they were one of the winners for Culturama. But I was very impressed with the young lady, how she purported herself, how she spoke, how she, she was very up-tempo, upbeat. And I thought to myself as I learned that she had been in the Culturama competition this year, wow, she took what she learned to heart. And here she's now brought it on to her job site to offer that hospitable greeting and delivery and service in that workplace. And so, I mean, look at what can come out of all of this, huh?
Okay, so caller, I got your point, and I'm going to play a verse at least of a song to just have the panel and the audience and you caller to listen to and consider as you debate this same Culturama, and ask yourself whether or not is not part of the rhetoric, part of what we do, and maybe part of our culture. Okay. This song was done during, I'd say, about the 5th year. It may not be spot on accurate, but roughly about the 5th year of the celebrations. Mm-hmm. And if you listen to it, it is basically complaining of the same sort of things that we are complaining about in the 50th year. Okay? Mm-hmm. The 5th year also, we are complaining the same way that we are complaining in the 50th year, right? And we've been doing that every year. So here it is, okay? Yeah, you can hang up and listen.
Festival comes only once a year. Before you realize it just disappears. To me, our people don't stop and truly consider what's the true meaning behind Culturama. Some think it's a time for pure merriment. Some don't take the chance to be delinquent. But in 79 I did me sending out a call, and urgently going out to one and all. Sit around, let's reason, where will our culture be after this festive season? To me our culture going down the gutter, we just sit aside and we don't even bother. People check it out. We live in a world where culture is king. We losing with crown and we wouldn't say a king. People check it out. Nigga beef history.
Panel.
Webbo, as you rightfully say, it's, that was back in 79. It came out in the song, and we started in 74.
Four.
Yeah. So, and you know what the artist Bahola Demika basically saying is that, you know, we live in a world where culture is king, but you know it seems as if that it's fading away. And as I said earlier on, the forefathers of Culturama would have come up with Culturama, as the name suggests, to preserve our culture, which include our folklore and our folk heritage and stuff like that, Webbo. And I suspect back then that the participation wasn't at a level that the artists felt as if that it should have been.
But
and
that was
then,
year 5.
Right, that's year 5.
And what I'm saying is, they said the same thing in year 6.
And not just that, I
In
think...
year 7. In year 8. Up to 15.
I can recall, I think, 90... somewhere in the mid-90s, King Miko sang a song, Put Some Culture Back in Culturama, which is basically saying the same thing. And I'm saying, if we are to put culture back in Culturama, or if we are to keep up our culture so it don't go down the drain, then I am saying, how can we do that? The older ones, all of us are getting older.
But let me ask you this. When was culture not down the drain?
I can answer that, Mr. Herbert.
Okay, so Cairo seemed like he's a very brilliant fellow. Cairo, come in here for me. Because if we are saying from day almost 1 that something is wrong with this thing, is it just rhetoric, or is there something really wrong? Because in year 50, when we complain about it, we are basically implying, why don't we have the sort of things that we had in year 25? But in year 25, we were saying the same thing. We're in year 5.
Okay, so the two things that I would prefer for that, one is funding, and 2, culture is not static. So as it relates to the first part of it, being somebody who is heavily involved in the arts, the creative industry, festivals are expensive. The performing arts, it's expensive. Even if I can piggyback on calypso, why isn't there, let's say, a music grant? Younger individuals might not be able to participate because there's not funding. If I didn't go out on a limb, as I told you, I was unemployed. There was no grant for music per se. That would not have happened. So I think funding is, and it's not the solution to all of it, but I think that once funding is injected into festivals and arts and realizing how expensive these things are, then there would perhaps be something to reap from it. As I said too, culture is not static. I think that, well, at least for me, when people are saying save our culture, it's almost as if saying save the parts from before alone, or save the static parts. I think that we need to recognize that culture is evolving. Culture is the way of life of our people. It doesn't stay the same. It changes, and if we are able to integrate modern workings into what would have been the older parts of culture, I think that we can create something beautiful.
Yes, I partly agree with Mr. Smitten, on that, because just thinking deeply the other day, because a lot of things we refer to as culture seems to have come from an era where we were very poor. Again, we were a slave society, and then we start, living a kind of way that involves, you know, we are coming from nowhere. Some may refer to it as the rivers of dry bones and so forth. And so we wear clothes made of cockles bag clothes and things like that. And it's evident that as time progresses, we choose some, because as far as I check, if we had fine linen, we wouldn't have been wearing no cockles bag clothes. So, but some people will refer to as cockles bag clothes as something cultural. So sometimes we tend to mix, you know, culture with our circumstance back then, and it probably was culture, because the way it is the way of life, you know. But as society grows and people becomes more, you know, less impoverished, and certain things gonna get left behind, and new ways and new approach is going to be taken. Of course, we won't be wearing cockles, but we're going to wear fine linen now, because we can afford that, and so forth. So the idea that culture evolves is a sound idea, yes. And it's quite tricky, Webbo, because you played something 5 years after Culturama start, and he's saying our culture is dying. But Culturama, the festival, is still alive 50 years after. And so he either not been telling the truth, or what we are talking about even now doesn't make sense. But in reality, 5 years into Culturama, it was something much more massive than what we are experiencing today, as far as I check. And that's what we got to look at. Why is it there is no growth? You know, even thinking in terms of, you know, the changes in approaches, and maybe changing of our lifestyle, and so forth. And sometimes, you know, I people may say, oh, look what they're wearing now, and this is Culturama, they shouldn't be wearing this. But, you know, things evolve, and they should be allowed to wear anything that seems to reflect festivity, you know. And it looks to me like what we are seeing now is the lack of something. And my good friend Mr. Smith think of finance, he thought of finance, and that maybe make some sense too. But we are seeing 5 years into Culturama, 1979, when Bahulda mixing that song, it was much more massive than it is today, when it should be the other way around if we are talking about growth and development of the festival, you know. And of course, I'm one who believes that we will move away from things that we used to consider as cultural. But the festival itself should be showing growth. And that is what we are not seeing. Maybe because of the lack of funding, there's the lack of money in every aspect and respect. Anyway, but there seems to be a lack of inspiration, a lack of involvement, a lack of presence, you know, of this cultural effort. You know, because, you know, as the caller said earlier, and to me that's almost like ABC, that we got all these schools. The troop, schools can't have a troop, but sometimes we think a little too vulgar as it relates to festival, that a school should have a troop. Maybe a church can have a troop too. Mr. Fifield is a Christian and he loves calypso, and so to me, we need to bring everyone, invite everyone to be a part of it. And I mean, I know we are not no socialist country, but I believe that every school, yes, should have a troop.
Oh, yes.
And that should be a must.
Yes.
You know, and of course, we must be aware that such troop would be exuberating certain things, and not what we may refer to as the vulgarity and the worldliness of our taste and our mindset sometimes, you know. And so it's about growth and development. It's about growth and development. Mm-hmm. It's not, to me, really about the fact that we're not attack nigger business. You know, I mean, sometimes too fast, and you go to work, stop there, and make a business. Yes, is the right way, as far as I check. And so it's really about growth and development and presence and inspiration and as I said last week, value for money, because we got a big cultural department here, right? We got a cultural foundation, a CEO. A CEO is supposed to pay himself. I don't know government paying no CEO. A CEO is supposed to be getting his money from the organization which he leads. You understand? Or the business that he leads, the corporation that he leads. So it's a lot of wastage. Is we are drifting, and somebody got to throw out the anchor first, and then start almost like afresh to bring back things, bring back that ship on that path, you know. But it's just quite weird here in 1979 that our culture is going on the journey. And 50 years after, we still got a festival, you know what I mean? And but no clothes, you know, low profile. It's almost a shame, because at the end of the last lap, I mean, friends who have come from the U.S. to be here, and they want to know what this Sink It thing, man. Sink it. All Sink It bands are all. What is really happening? Is my question. It's probably need a revolution and change everything as it relates to the culture. But you know, let's try and work together.
Webbo, I tend to agree with Cairo and Naya with certain aspects, and I still believe that, you know, there should be a base. And
gentlemen, I'm going to play Cairo's second song for you so you can hear it, but let me take this first. Good evening, thank you for holding.
Hello, good evening, Webbo, and good evening to your panelists. Let me just put in my 2 cents here. Naya spoke earlier of everything seems to be going down the drain. You know, everything seems to be on a low. But I would say that the steel band area, you know, the steel band section, they're doing great.
It's coming back. I
went to the Panorama, and it was really off the charts, man. I really enjoyed the Panorama. Those youth, they play their hearts out. The arrangers who arranged for the different steel band, Mr. Gavin Patterson and Mr. Leroy Paris, his name is. Junior Paris, yeah. These guys did an awesome job. I don't know if they got outside help with the arrangement and so on, but they had some awesome arrangements. And the youth, they like I said, they played their hearts out. That's the only show that I went to. But they really played well. It was well attended, and the songs was well executed. The judges, I think, they did a marvelous job. It was just an awesome show. And I'm really looking forward to going to see next year. Hopefully, it will be better, and maybe you could see some more pans too. But you know, the pans, the steel orchestra, definitely on the up. I wish I could say the same thing for the other instruments, like the wind instruments and the string band instruments and the guitars and keyboards and stuff like that. I wish I could say the same thing for that, but I really can't, because I'm not seeing a whole lot being done. I don't think we have put enough energy, enough passion, and enough money into the music, into the arts, into that kind of thing. That's why maybe it's dying. The calypso, the young calypsonian, they say finances. Yeah, of course we got money problems here, because if the little pittance don't come over from Sink It, there's a lot of things we can't do over here. So money is definitely an issue, and I'm getting around that. But I don't think enough is done in concerning our music, our arts, the you know, that kind of thing. And you have a lot of square pegs in round holes too, you know. we give people jobs because they are our friends, and maybe they're tall, dark, and they're handsome, but they're really not passionate about what they're doing. And if you're not passionate about what you're doing, you're not going to get a whole lot of results, because the bottom line is you're just there to collect a salary. is the passion is what gonna make you not want to fail. I don't want this thing fail, man, because you know I'm so passionate about it. And you know, a lot of the times, government workers, as soon as it's 4 o'clock, everybody wanna run go home. They're gonna come late. They're gonna come late, you know. But as soon as 4 o'clock comes, they're ready to go home. But is the passion is what gonna keep you there and make you finish this thing. I want it done. Maybe it's not to perfection, really close to perfection. Like we say in music, halfway decent. You know, and it takes passion. And I find the person that we got doing these jobs in the culture department and a lot of different areas like that, they're not passionate about what they're doing. And if you ain't got no passion, man, you're just wasting time, really. Anyway, good show. I'll continue to listen.
All right, thank you. Okay, let me do that now.
I want to know why our voices just cannot flow. I want to know when this form of censorship grow. I want to know. The truth must be told. No fear, no silence. You have to speak. I want you to fight for times when men surely spoke their mind. No hesitation, he would let the truth unwind. Yes, this man, he will talk, he won't tell you straight to your face. Tables turn, he talks, they want to seal his damn fate. He can't question why they leave the double S to be a stress. He sees big officials collecting their 5 paychecks. I want to know, can't he put down 2 cents? Say, boy, I'm not content. Fix up Alexander's wings. If one dares to do so, he might just go untraced. Come now, tell me, is silence not my place? I want to know why our voices just cannot flow. I want to know when this form of censorship grow. I want to know. Our ancestors stood strong. We must honor them. Remember how our ancestors passed over in their graves, hell-bounded by chains. We learn how their spirits were never shake. You should know that they did not bow. You should know that they did not bend. You should know it is wrong to not speak and honor them. Their echoes calling from the depths of their past, to fight with their will, be so fierce and steadfast. Yes, they went through the fire, bore all that pain, carved out their courage, now in our veins. Blood is the ink, tears are our guide. No way, we lose this fight. We lose this fight and run to the high. Will you rise up or run from the light? I want to know why our voices just cannot flow. I want to know when this form of censorship grow. I want to know. Voices are sometimes controlled with fear. Are you really free? They say when one speaks now, he must be ready for the coming backlash. Strong power from top, quick to silence you in a flash. What's some dodging and hiding from their pent? Judges may right, he works so strong. He's not getting crowned tonight. One single word wrong, some quick for defamation. So then, my people, watch how you pen your narration. Silence with voices, muzzle with choices, splice out with damn tongue. Why is speech now hung? And if culture gets bound and the brave now may weak, silent slavery takes roots as we don't speak. I want to know why our voices just cannot flow. I want to know when this form of censorship grow. I want to know. Who draws the line? What's the real truth? Justice or control? I'm not doubting that some control is much needed here too. We can't let fake news run wild and just twisting what's true. But who gets to choose what's right? Tell me who gets to draw the line? Who's to say what's the truth? Or if they want silent pride? With gavels in hand, you hammer with your pain. Pound silence in heart, binding thoughts with your chains. Is it the might or the power, money that sways? Stories we tell, truth you erase. Justice is saved up for those in high place. Tell me, how many truths are buried alive? How many voices must you deny? I want to know why our voices just cannot flow. I want to know when this form of censorship grow. I want to know. Stand up and speak out. Your time is now. Silence with no objective warrants be what left. A culture stolen, we get left looking quite oppressed. I'm begging you, please no more biting or hiding of that mighty tongue. Stand up strong, go call out all of the wrongs. Yes, it might be scary, speak up before your chance is gone. You have to fight for your country, for justice to be carried on. Don't take no stifle, your voice a rifle. So then let me hear you. Speak, speak, speak. For if we're only country and we let this silence scream, hear my testimony, our nation will be buried deep. I want to know why our voices just cannot flow. I want to know when this form of censorship grow. I want to know.
Yes, Webbo, another excellent song by Cairo, and again, congratulations, Cairo. I think that both songs are really excellent songs, and you know, it's this one too is deep, asking lots of questions, and I think that you can only go from string to string. Webbo, I don't know if I can go back to just before you played the song Webbo, in terms of culture and how it has changed or evolved over the years. I still believe that, however culture is defined, that in my opinion there is what I would call a baseline, and from that baseline would come other things. That is, it doesn't stay as stagnant. For instance, let us look at the composition of bands over the years. Back then a band would have had maybe 10, 12 members, and right now you have a band maybe have 5, maybe 4, 5, 6 members, because a lot of things would have gone electronic. That's a way. But the thing is, we have a band that still plays music the same way. Calypso, Calypsonians, for some reason they sang in a different manner. There was a different mannerism, but Calypso, in my opinion, has evolved, but it's still Calypso. The way they sing, the way they move, on stage, it is still Calypso. So you would find that certain things, would not stay stagnant, using Cairo's words, would not stay stagnant, but we build on that base. And I'm saying that we are to probably build on these base instead of leaving them, to the back and forgetting about them. And there are certain folklore, that almost seems to be extinct, that we are not seeing. And I dare say that there are still persons who are alive and well, who maybe the cultural department, probably need to piggyback on, maybe go into the communities, have a conversation with these guys. Some of them are older persons, and have a conversation, with these guys. Maybe have even the persons who are in the employ, maybe go to the homes of these persons or bring these persons to the department, and to pass on the knowledge, to those in the employ of the cultural department, and even have such persons, to visit probably the schools with these persons. This is maybe one way. It may not be the best way, but at least it's a suggestion, it's an idea. We want to see certain things come back, maybe not in the form that it was, as I alluded to, the musical bands and stuff like that, how they would have evolved, even Calypsonians, how they perform on stage, even the way they probably write, wrote, how they wrote the songs years back. So these are things that we probably need to look at. In terms of participation, especially with Calypso. Calypso is a very expensive venture.
Yes.
Especially if you cannot write your own song. To get a song, to buy a song, you're paying upwards of $600 for one song. So if you're paying $800 for one song, that is $1,600 for 2 songs. And then you have to have the musical arrangement, you have to have those things. That's another $1,000 each, thereabout. So we're looking at almost $3,000 upwards, in terms of having 2 songs to compete with. Now, if you do not pass eliminations, you basically get little to nothing. If you manage to make semi-finals, I'm not sure what it is now, but you'll get something more. But definitely you wouldn't be able to cover your costs. Now, if you make it to the finals, I believe Cairo could probably help me out here, and you do not place, you make about 4,000.
Correct.
4,000, 4,500, they're about. Now, you probably get a little thing, in terms of to cover your costs. And I'm just speaking about basic costs, because we're not going into, maybe paying dancers. We're not going into,
Props.
the additional props. We're not speaking to, maybe having confettis and stuff like that.
Sparks,
That is
the videography on the back.
right.
It's expensive.
So we're not going, into all that. Maybe what possibly can happen, is to look at the criteria again. Maybe the criteria is fine. I'm not saying it's not fine, but maybe we need to maybe take out certain things in terms of maybe the human props and stuff like that. Maybe just to adjust costs in a sense. Someone may argue and say, no, leave it. That's fine. But these are just suggestions. How can we get persons? As Cairo said, maybe our government, because Culturama is run by the government. Maybe they need to speak to the financial institutions. Asking them to have a part with persons who are actively taking part, competing, in Culturama, in terms of, granting them small loans at, at reduced rates and stuff like that. That may encourage participation. It may, at least entice persons, to compete and to take part, because they know they have a source of revenue to do what they have to do. In terms of the low the low attendance, what I would say, and I continue to say, Culturama is what we make it. Culturama is what I make it as an individual. Culturama is what we make it collectively. We should look at Culturama as our pride and joy, our masterpiece, a product that we want to showcase to the world, that it is not mediocrity, it is something that, it's different, because when we brand it, we don't brand it as Carnival, we brand it as Culturama, the unique festival. And so we have to bring out and showcase that uniqueness, our cultural acts and stuff like that. Maybe we need to get a night of, cultural acts, the giant and spears, the different folklores and stuff like that, and we showcase that on a particular night, maybe, so we can probably feel, and maybe the older persons could, reminisce, and and the younger ones joining and stuff like that. But also, over the years, we have to be realistic. A lot of things has changed. Persons used to look forward to come back to Nevis for Culturama from the diaspora, the Virgin Islands, the US, etc. But when we look at it now, so many things have now come in the mix and in between Culturama. So there is competition as we know it. Before I would have been saving up, I live out there, I'm saving up for Culturama, and I'm probably saving up for Christmas, maybe to return in the summer for Culturama and return, in December for Christmas. But what happens now? We have to look, and I'm not saying, because I know, Webbo, you like to speak about scientific, studies and stuff like that. But so this is just coming from the top of my head. What is placed directly, and this is not any, any blame game, I'm just saying it as I see it. What is placed basically in this map between, just before Culturama is music festival. Now, when you look at music festival, we have a lot of international artists. We have artists that persons may not be able to afford to pay for, maybe in the bigger countries. And so they have an opportunity now to pay, quote unquote, smaller monies to see them here in St. Kitts Nevis. And so they would probably save up to come to music festival. And if they save up to go to music festival, they may not have enough vacation left to come for Culturama. They may not have enough finances, to come back for Culturama. So these are things that we have to be mindful of. And if indeed that these are some of the factors that affecting Culturama, then we need, to look at it and say, how can we get persons from the Virgin Islands, just to join a reference? Can we have, special charters, so to speak, where persons would be able to come to Nevis at a reduced cost? Can we have promotions, persons winning, a ticket to come to Nevis and a weekend stay at one of our hotels? We have to look at this thing holistically, if we want, to continue to have this, showpiece, as a unique festival that we hold dear to our hearts. We have to try to instill in our youngsters from a very young age, the importance of holding and uplifting Culturama, the pride, the joy. We probably need to have persons, if this is not happening, from yesteryear, to go to the schools, visit the schools, speak to them about, what Culturama was, ask them questions. How would you like to see Culturama, maybe next 10 years, if next 5 years, based on what is said to them, based, from the older heads. These are things that we have to look at all possible aspect, all possible avenue, in order to continue to grow our Culturama. It's our festival. It's our festival. To me, I think I can say this on Webbo, because it is the truth. At one point in time, there were 3 guys working.
Just hold that. 3 guys working. Good evening. Thank you for holding. One of our lines seemed to be giving some issues. So call, if you're going to call on 1700, please. Caller, go ahead.
Good night, Webbo. Good night to the panelists there.
Good night.
Good night,
sir.
Nice discussion. Now I'm here listening to the program, right? Now I believe that to make Culturama great and make it good, I believe that the Nevis public should come out and support Culturama. Just like how Kitty-Shan come out and support Cannibal down here. No matter what the situation might be, even in politics or whatsoever government in, Kitty-Shan come out and they support Cannibal. They're going to troop and join the troop and whatever. Some of them farm their own small troop and everything. So I believe if the Kidney region was very cultural and supportive of their Culturama, I believe that they will make and encourage people to come from different countries and support Culturama too. I don't believe that Nivijan pay more attention to Culturama. They will stand up on this side and watch on and all those things. The Kitty-Shan will come up and join a troop, farm a troop up there and enjoy themselves. You understand? I come up and I think to myself, I get to come this year because I had some foot problem here and, I just got to nurse my foot. I was trying to come up even for last lap. But anyway, I believe that if Nivijan come out and support the Culturama, just like how Kitty-Shan support Cannibal, and support the Culturama too, I believe that you all will get a better Culturama and then things will go more better and people more come in and encouraged to join troops and everything. You all have a wonderful night. God bless. Now, good night.
Night, sir.
Okay, night.
All right, thank you. Let's go ahead.
Yeah. Webbo, I was saying that at one point in time, there were 3 guys that work where I am presently working, and they were part of a band, the Odyssey band. And on the local scene, I never support Odyssey. But anytime Odyssey hit the stage outside St. Kitts Nevis, I am the biggest supporter. And I can recall, Webbo, might have been around 2016, thereabout. I went to Antigua for the Stanford T20, and I asked Kenny Easy, for some CDs, and he gave them to me. And I recall I went to ZK, I went to ABS, I went to the cricket match, and you know, at the grounds they have them segmented. And when I was going over the barricade, the security held me. And I explained to the security I was trying to reach the DJ, and he allowed me to reach the DJ, and I gave the DJ the CD, the Odyssey CD. And the same night, they started to play. And I want to believe that is Styly, I think is the name of the song. Styly. I think that's the name of the song. That's a really big hit. Still in Antigua, you know. So I am saying this to say, Webbo, you know, the pride, the joy that we should feel as Nivisians, it is our thing. It is our thing. You know, in Calypso, as I said, my horse, you know, is Hollywood. Empress Lyrics went to represent us in Anguilla, and I was supporting Empress Lyrics 100%. As a matter of fact, in my opinion, I believe that Empress Lyrics, you know, could have possibly placed in the top 3 based on what I saw. But then again, I wasn't the judge, you know. But whatever it is, once it's Nevis, I have to support it. I can't support anything else because I'm a Nivisian. I am all for Nevis, and I am going to support. I am going to support Webbo. It doesn't matter, and I believe people should, you know, have that passion. You know, things may not at all times go in the way that you want it to go, but you have to tell yourself that, hey, I am someone who can make a change. You know, a change start with us. You know, we just can't sit back and say, for example, Culturama not good. But how Culturama could be good if we are sitting in our homes? You know, how Culturama could be big if we are sitting in our homes? If we get up, we wash our skin, we jump in our vehicles or catch a bus, and we go wherever the events are being held.
You have to
and all of us go. Then Culturama would be big. You know, but if we just sit back and say Culturama is not going to be good or Culturama not good.
The festival can be like a magnet. It's almost like
people pull people.
People pull people.
Exactly.
And not only that, but the festival itself, the life of the festival, supposed to pull people. I am not one who is convinced that someone who usually come for Culturama would decide to go to the music festival in St. Kitts, especially a Nivisian who lives in the diaspora. I am not one who is convinced that that's happened in a big way. But we shouldn't have no problem with the music festival. We're bigger than the music festival. Are we supposed to be much bigger than the music festival in terms of Nivisians coming home to Nevis? But I think the vibrancy of the whole thing. Remember, I tell you, I was a judge, you know, for a road march. I think Odyssey is one of the best bands in the world.
Odyssey is a good band.
Odyssey ain't no small band.
Odyssey is a good band.
And one time they told me that they were invited or two to go play in Eastern Parkway. Where that be? In New York, New York, eh? And everyone had the visa, everything. And they asked for a little support from the administration to get them there. And they were denied. They were denied. You know, and they were upset about it. And I was vexed about it too, because here a Nivisian act wants to go to Eastern Parkway in New York on Labor Day. Everything is set, and they are not supported. You understand? And as I said before, I was a judge for the road march once upon a time, and it was hands down, no hesitation at all. Odyssey win the road march. But when I present my paper, they told me the road march was already decided. My paper meant nothing, you know. And so these are the things at time, okay, that destroys a lot in this festival. This thing called Culturama sometimes. Don't joke with it, because bad seed is not going to produce no good food. You understand? Don't disappoint the people when it's so overwhelmingly clear. you know, that such and such should be the case, you know. You see, our good friend here stayed out for 4 years because he, you know, I'm not saying, but these are the things sometimes, you know, and I don't see Culturama should be threatened by no music festival, but at all.
Can I interject? What I'm saying, you know, I'm not saying that it is being threatened by it, but I'm saying that it's another avenue, it's a competing avenue, whether we want to believe it. When we look at sports, for example, we look at cricket, for example. We all grew up playing cricket, but now we have basketball. Wouldn't you say that it's a competing, it's competing, so to speak? I would have persons gravitating towards basketball, and some would gravitate towards cricket. So it's you have you know, a split, so to speak.
I understand, but it's difficult to consume that analogy in a sense because I understand. We speak about the uniqueness of our festival. You know, we speak about that, and it's just about. And I understand, and I totally agree with you. It's a depression, you know. So, for instance, okay, Naya nowhere this time. You understand? Because the last time this and that happened, and something has happened, and something has happened, and sometimes that spirit take control of a lot of us. You get me? I hear the caller say he went to the pan, and when I heard it was the pan night, it's like, wow, I should have gone, because you know that is a great expression of you know of culture and so forth, and I know a lot of youth was a part of it. But sometimes the feeling of don't go nowhere, and those who come from New York and everything, they come and they go to the show. But locally, those who live here sometimes.
Let me ask you guys a very quick question, very quick answer. The pan wasn't something from a long time too?
Yes.
Yes.
Isn't it a set of youths I hear you all say playing it?
Yes.
So how come you are conflicting? Because you're now saying that a lot of the other cultural things and stuff like that, young people don't want that. How you explain that?
It's not necessarily young people don't want it. Maybe the way it's put over, maybe the way it is taught. You know, maybe.
So they're teaching it wrong.
It could be presentation. I think that the steel pan is very modern now, and we let's say, for example, you're going to schools. There's not really a sell on the banjo or a sell on those instruments.
So it's not so much that the culture has changed. That's the last word. Cairo, we appreciate you being here, and can I invite you now and then?
Yes.
To keep you in this thing, so that make sure that you sing next year. This program repeats tomorrow at 10 o'clock following the VON News Minute. Join the Honorable Mark Brantley tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock for On The Mark. Join Keats Cabrio on Thursday evening at 8 o'clock for Government at Work, a place you can spend all of your evenings right here in the Eastern Caribbean Spa House. Thank you all again for joining us. This is your voice in the community. Thought that get results. You all have a wonderful evening.